Hey, Bob Weigel here. Pardon the mess. As usual, I've got too many projects open. Decided to work over my Poly 61M. This is my personal unit. Several of the contacts started to go bad on this one, and I tried my usual routine first of, if nothing else, it flattens the contact out before I get done. This acetone will actually kind of cut the irregularities in the surface and flatten it as you scrub it hard with a swab. I'll take a swab and scrub as I pinch it and hold it like that. Now, the thing is, it doesn't always work. Sometimes it'll trim it back and there'll be enough carbon to where it'll make good contact again. This particular one up here and this one did not work. I had several still fouling after I put it back together. So it's time for this stuff. That's the last ditch effort that I previously had, and I began to be saddened by Poly 6s sitting over in the corner that there was no solution for. So I created a solution here. This stuff is a substance created for NASA, I'm told, and it is a very, very strong material. You can take a razor and kind of cut it. It's pretty tough stuff. It's very thin, but it has the surface properties of the original material. And as you can see, I've already replaced the whole row of these except for this last one. I don't know if you can see the difference in the reflectivity there. This last one I haven't replaced. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now, because you can purchase these from me. I've got a company that has tooled up, and they are all in production, and there are about 1 million keyboards out here that are going to greatly benefit from this. You take it, you put your knife under it, you get your thumbnail down and pinch it on the knife blade, lift it off. I don't have another kind of tool yet for this. Oops, I'm getting some backing with that one. The tool cut through a little too far. Okay, there we go. Okay, once it's on the knife, I tray it over here. These things will take off like frisbees if you're not careful. Wrong end. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to gently lay the edge of it onto that contact. I'm looking up close up here around my glasses. It's a good close-up vision without them. So I pinched it with my fingernail and then rolled the knife out from under it. So that gets it positioned. Now I can carefully jockey it if I need to, but usually if I do anything too severe, it's going to fly off like a frisbee. So I got to be really careful. Get that thing positioned, and then you can just crush it down with your thumbnail, kind of pinch behind it, mush it down. Try not to do anything where you create a cut in that stuff, because once you cut those, then you need a new bubble, a new strip, and replace it. And you have a brand new set of contacts. At that point, when you get all those replaced, they measure just like the originals, except they're much more dimensionally stable. I'm sure that the surface is much less porous, and I'll bet they'll last much better with time. We've only had them in service for, a year or whatever now. I've been making these things for a while, and tried some different materials and settled on this stuff. This seems to be the best solution. So memory Moogs, Oberheim, OB8, later ones, and a host of other keyboards that use this Panasonic type movement that have these things. You'll also find ones that have dual ones, like the Kurzweil K2000, the PV DPM, the Alesis QS series. They work perfectly fine on those as long as you replace both of them. It won't affect your velocity, right? Because the spacing is what's important. They go when you hit the key, they go bump bump, and it times that gap. And as long as you put a shim on both of them, you're fine. And these are very thin shims, so it will not affect any of the operational functionality of a contact. It will purely put a new face on. That adhesive is very good stuff. It's a 3M adhesive. Should have no problem as long as you get it pushed down really well and just leave it be. It'll just get better over time. So anyway, that is how you install this solution on there. Previously, people had tried, I know one place was selling a paint I tried, and it worked sometimes and sometimes it didn't. With these, if one ever doesn't work, it's because you probably bent it or something, and you just pull it out and put a new one in. It's very simple to pull it off and put it in. Once you paint those things, it's very hard to deal with. So these are a time-saving solution, and the cost is, you know, what, 30 cents a contact or whatever. You know, it's a very price non-prohibitive thing. It fixes up your keyboard to be a like-new keyboard, essentially for very minimal investment except your time, and it may take a couple hours depending on how good you are at your skill development there. And I wish I had a tool. I was thinking of making a tool that I can get these things in and kind of stick it over the contact and press down or something, but maybe in time. Anyway, a little supplemental. Some of the keys on this one, when I first got this, I had to put washers under some of them, and a few others. Something has drifted in tolerance. Maybe this thing was just out of tolerance somehow. But I actually had, this is the first one I've had like this, where I've had to put washers under there even after I put the new contacts in. Some of them you have to press kind of hard to get them down there, and so I just goop adhesive on a little plastic washer, a nylon washer down here, so in case it ever falls off, though it's not going to with goop adhesive. If it ever falls off, though, it wouldn't hurt anything, it would short anything out, so that's a good way to do it. Just get nylon washers and just build it up ever so slightly, and then it brings it right into tolerance on this one. But I don't know why it needs that. I've never seen one that needed it. But just in case one ever does, you know about that as a last-ditch effort. But they all work plenty fine once you stick that back in. That key that was false triggering, right up there, just fine. Yep, alright. Both those were false triggering, now they're fine. So, now of course the finished product. I can sit down and play it. Ah! Looks like they all work. Anyway, yeah, this is not a bad unit. I think I got this for 75 bucks many years ago, and it just always had that key problem where you had to keep whacking them and whacking them and whacking them to make them work, and that shouldn't be a problem anymore. So, alright, hope if you have a keyboard like this, you will have similar results. Well, actually, I hope you don't have to space them all like I did. I had to put so many of those washers under different keys because there was something wrong with the whole spacing on this one, and I've never seen that before. But anyway, yeah, my boy Goal signing off.